Hello everybody, welcome to a special video. This video is going to be basically a recreation of one of my later rounds playing Gundam against a really strong opponent. I ended up going 3-1 in this tournament, but this is probably one of the best matches I had in terms of being able to explain what my opponent's trying to do, what I'm trying to do, the goals, and how I'll go about playing the game. So I'm going to recreate this turn by turn and nearly step by step as much as I can. I can't be too specific in what I drew, specific, but except for a few very key draws that I had, I don't quite know exactly what was in my opponent's hand, um, but we'll try to do the best that we can with that information. So for this matchup, it is matchup 4. I had just lost one. I'm going into the 4th round, and I don't know why my opponent is playing, but spoilers, he does end up playing the Wing Zero deck, but I do not know this at this time. But it is very key information. The thing about Gundam is that knowing what your opponent is trying to do can and is very important. With that being the case, I need to know whether this is a wing deck so I can play appropriately against it, so I can plan against it. So I'm looking for those signs early on. As we set up, these are not visible. These are not the sleeves he was using. It was just very amorphous. I did not know what it was. So I'm looking for clues at this point. I am running my Zaku Rush deck, which I made a video about and talked about a little bit already. The list is up on a different video if you care to look for that. I will try to link that to this video. But I do have a suspicion that my opponent is running something on the slower side. His rounds have been taking a little bit longer, which is kind of a key aspect of the Wing Zero deck. And so I do win the die roll, and I choose to go second, not wanting to give my opponent the EX resource, which gives them both a level and a resource for later. So I do make him go first, meaning he is going to have only one resource available for his first turn. Now, mind you, he does have a resource that looked like this. He did have a wing. To me, that was a clue potentially that he was running the Wing Gundam deck, but not confirmed since some people do run a variety of different resources. But as I'm going about this, I do want to keep it in mind that if it is a Wing Gundam deck, he is going to be looking for these cards. The Wing Gundam, the Wing Zero, the Hero, and the Gundam Death Sight. All of which are high level cards, level 6, level 8. Hero doesn't matter. He does need, he would ideally go into these guys over here to pop off. And then Gundam Death Side does need duo in order to link. That is going to become actually a key aspect of this match, but I'll talk about it when we get to it. All in all, I know that the Wing Zero is a supreme counter, so if I can figure out whether my opponent is trying to get to that level 8, which is key, I will do everything I can to try to win fast, which is what this deck does anyway. And so we go ahead. My opponent goes first. And of course, as I would expect from a Wing Zero deck, he goes ahead and passes, meaning I go and take my turn. I'm here with level 2 with 2 resources, but I don't want to use my extra too early. So I do go ahead and tap to play a Zaku 2 because I'm able to do that. And that Zaku 2 threatens to destroy his EX base immediately. And so we leave it out there to basically apply pressure right away. That is a turn pass to my opponent, who's going to go into his level 2. And sure enough, he does go ahead and show a Zwart. Not super confirmation, but it's definitely a big clue. He's trying to survive, make it to the later levels. So Zwart is here to block, keep him alive, keep his base alive, so on and so forth. And so that's all he's going to be able to do for his turn, passing the turn to me, which I go to level 3 with 3 resources available to me. I definitely want to keep in mind everything that he can do. I should not have picked this up. I do want to ideally have better cards. I don't have, I did not draw a Char right away, so I'm kind of trying to fish for that. And so what I will do with one of my resources is I'll actually play a Dop and take a peek at the top of my deck. And I see that it's a Char. So we're just going to go ahead and leave that guy right there for the next turn. We are going to want him. He is super key. And the Dop basically told me that he is on his way. For my second resource, I just go ahead and put down a second body. This time it's the Zaku 2. Now, because it is their first turn, they are not able to attack, but the Zaku 2 can go ahead and attack the EX base and destroy it. And of course, my opponent has his blocker that can just block me back. However, if he chooses to block when I am attacking, he will lose his ward. If he waits and doesn't block, he can destroy my Zaku too, because since on his turn, since he's not attacking, he would only take the 1 damage from here. And I know this, so I go ahead and attack, forcing him to make a choice whether he wants to block now or not. My opponent chooses to not block, and so his EX base is destroyed and out of the way. Okay, so we have went ahead and destroyed the EX base. We're trying to make way. We see Char on the way. These are all pretty good things. My opponent is definitely showing or thinking that he's going wing 0. Again, no confirmation, but it definitely seems to be that way. The next turn, turn 3, my opponent is now level 3 with 3 resources. And he's actually going to choose to do 2 overflowing affections back to back. And he definitely shows at that point that he is playing wing. He throws away a wing Gundam, and he throws away a different card, but definitely 2 cards that show that he is running the wing Gundam deck. I know this at this point, and so it becomes a race. I am trying not to let him survive until level 8, so I definitely want to deploy and attack as often as possible. And I know that he's going to continue to put down blockers. With his last resource, he's actually going to go ahead and put down a base, his underground desert base, which has 6 HP, and he is going to be able to survive basically an attack from all of my units where they choose to. However, he's not going to wait to do that. Zawart is going to go ahead and take out my Zaku 2 for him, and so that card is now have been removed, leaving the Zawart with just 1 HP. And that is my opponent's turn. He's going to go ahead and turn pass, and I of course pick up Char at this point. I am level 4 with 4 potential resources, one of them being EX, but I have to think about this carefully. I definitely want to take out the base and keep chipping away. However, I just simply do not have the attack power. There's also a blocker on the board that I would love to get rid of, and I choose to do so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play a Gelgoog. Since I am level 4, I get to take advantage of that. That's going to be for 2 resources. And then I go ahead and use one of my resources to go up to McCube this time. I am choosing not to go into Char. I think he doesn't make a big difference here. The high maneuver doesn't come in handy right away. And we're going to do the same amount of damage anyway, right? If I use it on the card that I have in my hand, which at this time is just the Char Zaku 2, which is only 5 damage. Which is the same thing as the McCube with the Gelgoog. This might have been a miscalculation on my part. I definitely felt like I could have hit harder, but it's fine. I'll go ahead and use my DOP to pop the Zwart. It is a very good trade for me. He's not going to have a blocker anymore. I lose only the DOP, which is just 1 attack, but that's okay. And then we go ahead and double tap his base to destroy it. And so the base goes down for my opponent, and I've used up 3 of my resources over here. I do have 1 resource. I am thinking at this point in the game, all of the cards in my hand are actually level 4 or lower. And in the next turn, I am going to be level 4 anyway. So I figure I might as well just drop something now, since does not make a big difference. And that's the cool thing about this rush deck, is I can use my EX resource a little bit earlier and not suffer too much for it. So I do go ahead and use my EX resource to go ahead and play another DOP and take a peek at the top of my deck. I see that it's a Gelgoog again, so I can go ahead and link next turn with the Char. So that's a good call. We definitely want to keep the Char just in hand, just in case. The DOP is doing a little bit of work here, which is nice. And so that is my turn. I go ahead and pass, being at level 3 with 3 resources. My opponent, of course, goes up now to level 4. At this point in the game, they are definitely trying to make it faster up to the levels. I definitely am threatening to overwhelm the board with units, and so he needs to really ramp it up and get higher. So he is going to go ahead and play the first contact. He's going to use 3 of his resources for that and putting down an EX resource. He definitely does not want to use it. So instead, he uses just 1 resource to go ahead and put down another base again. So now we have just a 6 base, but we do have my opponent going up a level, which is really nice for him, but I definitely have the numbers advantage. And I don't know if he made the right choice here. So we definitely have a really nice opportunity. And so we go ahead and move up to level 4. We do have a level 6 base to deal with. We do pick up the Gelgoog at this point, but we do have the resources for an additional attack should we need it. Okay, so we go ahead and think, well, we got to get through 6 HP. We do definitely have a Gelgoog here with the Char. So we go ahead and deploy Gelgoog with Char for the 3 cost. It's pretty solid. 6 attack power. It's coming in handy. Much better this time. So we go ahead and destroy the base. Base is taken out. And then we are going to go ahead and dop attack. And what do you know? It's a Wing Gundam. Zaku 2 goes ahead and swings. And here we have a base. Once again, I have to deal with a base. A card goes to my opponent's hand. And we have a 6 HP base, once again slowing us down. I do not have the attack power to destroy it right now. McCube is only hitting for 5, but he does go ahead and put 5 damage on that base. We are definitely approaching overwhelming my opponent. We definitely have the numbers. We definitely have pretty solid attack power, right? My opponent is probably freaking out a little bit, but there's not much else I can do on this turn. I go ahead and turn pass to give my opponent his turn. So my opponent is definitely feeling the pressure, but he is now level 6. And so now he has a bit of options. After talking to him about after the match, he does tell me that all 4 of these cards were in his hand, except for Duo Maxwell, who would have made a big difference here had he had it. Unfortunately, he had to make a choice. He did have a hero in his hand that he picked up from his shields, but he had only the Death Sight and the Wing Gundam, as well as the Wing Zero, but Wing Zero cannot be dropped at this time. He's just not level 8. The Gundam Death Sight would have made him go up a level for the next turn. If he had Duo, he would have had first strike and be able to destroy something simultaneously on that turn, but he does not have Duo. He only has Hero, which can only trigger the resource. He also has the Wing Gundam, which can attack standing units. None of my units are standing, but he can destroy and breach something right away with that unit. So he chooses to go with the Wing Gundam and Hero. He just chooses not to ramp up, so he uses 5 of his resources to do that. Wing Gundam comes out, and he's going to go ahead and destroy McCube with the Gelgoog while breaching into my base, destroying that, leaving me with few units. Only 3. It's not too bad, but maybe he has a way to save himself here. Okay. He has 1 left. He has 1 left. He cannot really play defense that much. He's not. If he plays another base, I am able to destroy it right away. And then check, right? Nothing crazy. Or rather, a lot of crazy stuff could happen here. Now, he has 1 of his EX resources left. He likely doesn't have much else that he can do. And so I'm going to have to take my turn at this point, right? He has destroyed a unit. He has just 1 EX resource. I have 3 attacks. I draw my next card. And we are going to choose to destroy this base. we are able to. But lo and behold, Zaku 2 swings, and it's the last base left. We are not able to finish the game here. We go ahead and do 6 damage to it to destroy it. My opponent has no shields left, but I'm not able to win on this turn. Right? I do not have a Char to link with for another attack. I don't have a McCube either. And so I look at the situation. Well, my opponent is level 6 currently. He'll be level 7. If he ramps up, he will be level 8, but he needs at least one more turn in order to put down the Wing Zero. He is not able to put down a Wing Zero next turn. I'm not able to link and have an attack. Therefore, I must make a decision. Okay, so I haven't used any of my resources at this point. I myself am also level 5. Sorry, I didn't do that. And so I need to apply some pressure. Now, there's no big boss monster, and I know a lot of people might be concerned with that, but that's okay. If I don't have a boss monster, we're going to overwhelm with numbers. And that's exactly what I end up doing. I use 2 of my resources to put down a Zizulu. If my opponent has a blocker, Zizulu can definitely get that +2 attack power when going for game to destroy a blocker. That's going to be really nice. But I also happen to pick up a card called Fortress Defense. This Fortress Defense could have acted as a Dazzle pilot on my Gelgoose, but I did not have any more Gelgoose. I already used 2. So the Fortress Defense as a command, just going to put down 2 Zaku 2 units, leaving me with 6 bodies on the board. If you're not familiar, if you don't know, you can only have 6 bodies on the board. I've gone wide. I have 6 possible attacks for the next turn. My opponent cannot put down a Wing Zero. This is the right move at this time, in my opinion. We pass the turn. My opponent has his Wing Zero stand up. He is going to now be at level 7 with 7 resources. And he's going to look at his hand and say, well, Wing Zero cannot come out. He does have an attack, and he's actually going to choose to destroy the Zizulu. He knows what it can do. And from there, well, he's going to choose to go all out on defense. He's going to use 4 resources to put down 2 Lefriths. Right? And then he is going to go ahead and put down a Zwart. That's for another 2. And then he's starting to realize, oh yeah, I don't really have much that I can do. Okay. So he is just gonna basically use his EX resource. I believe he uses a 5 HP base. I don't remember, but just assume it's a 5 HP base. He uses that EX resource to put down a base to try to slow me down. He's going to try to block, but my Char does have high maneuver, which means he cannot block it. And so I draw. We are going to go ahead and destroy base with Char. High maneuver means he cannot be blocked by any of the Lefriths or Zwarts. Zaku 2 gets blocked, Dop gets blocked, and the other Zaku 2 token gets blocked. But the last token is able to go for game. And that is how I won the round. So we went ahead and overwhelmed. My opponent recognized that I just had the numbers. He needed to put down all of his blockers. He needed to put down a base to defend himself with. That's all he could do because he knew that next turn it was going to be over. He did not draw Duo. Duo likely would have made a big difference in this matchup. He would have been able to destroy something without taking any damage himself. He would have also been able to ramp up simultaneously, which is why Duo is such a key card in this deck. If you're running this deck, understand that it is definitely trying to get up to those high levels. And if it can't, it's just simply gonna just play defense, be on its back heel the whole time. You'll notice that I definitely did not take much damage myself from other than the breach late in the game. I didn't have to play too many bases. I felt like if I had too many high level cards in my hand, I wouldn't have been able to drop all of these bodies on the board as well as I did. And of course, I would not have liked to have bases in my hand too often. I definitely ended up with a base. Looking back at what I had a Char's Gelgoog and a Zanzibar in hand at that time. I also had a Gian, but no McCube or Char at this point in time. But that's okay. Had my opponent destroyed the Gelgoog, the regular Gelgoog, my Char's Gelgoog would have been able to recycle the Char and swing that way. The Zanzibar would definitely have been able to put down a unit. We still had the cards to put down more and continue to overwhelm my opponent every turn. However, a Wing Zero would have definitely stopped that. This deck does not want to get into those later levels. It's definitely doing its best to destroy my opponent early on. And so that's how I went 3-1 with this being the last matchup. There may have been a few things here and there that I didn't pick up or pay attention to. It is kind of hard without knowing exactly what my opponent had. And I don't quite exactly remember what I had, but this is generally speaking what happened. But if you have any comments or anything that you're like, why didn't you do that? Please let me know. I am continuing to try to learn this game. I definitely felt like this deck is very good at just playing early and continue to play in the mid game and try to go for it early. I don't think that the build that tries to stay in the game till late is the right one. You're simply trying to win too early for it. Okay, so that is some gameplay. I definitely hope that you like this type of video. If you do, please let me know. Maybe I'll make into looking some more like this. If not, then I won't, right? So please let me know. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.